Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, presented by the Business Courier. The largest health system in Ohio welcomes back a former CEO, his top priority in making Mercy successful. Plus, the Cincinnati Art Museum welcomes a new leader, what drew him to the Queen City, and what makes our art museum unique. And options for an urban lifestyle. We go beyond the curb to showcase Northern Kentucky's growing urban core. U.S. Bank Business Watch is next. Good morning and welcome to U.S. Bank Business Watch. I'm Peg Rasconi. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, John Starcher took over as CEO of Mercy Health on January 5th. Starcher oversees nearly 11,000 employees and $2 billion in net operating revenue, including operations in Springfield and Kentucky. And those employees are a key part of his roadmap to success. Starcher previously worked nearly 13 years for the Mercy system, which is the largest hospital system in Ohio. Starcher is only 44 years old, but says he has the experience to make Mercy successful.
So my top priority is just to ensure first and foremost that we're the provider of choice in Cincinnati. And specifically what I mean by that is we create an environment where people want to work, where physicians want to practice, and where patients want to come. And I would submit to you that you can't do the second or third elements of that if you don't have the first one, and that's first engaging your employees and making sure that people want to work here.
Starcher had stints as Senior Vice President of Human Resources, Assistant General Counsel, and CEO for 3 of the 4 divisions. He left in 2012 to join Health Management Associates, which had 71 hospitals and nearly $7 billion in net revenue. Starcher rose to CEO of the Florida firm before it was sold to Community Health Systems. He was ultimately invited back to Mercy as CEO. Mercy Health is partnering with Miami University. The health system plans to give $10 million to the school to help build a sports medicine and rehabilitation center for student athletes. In return, Mercy will become the university's exclusive medical and rehabilitation provider for varsity sports, club sports, and recreational intramural sports. The 13-year agreement takes effect July 1st. The partnership also has an educational component that may include internships, scholarships, and sponsored research in sports-related fields. A $1 million donation is boosting programs, equipment, and research at St. Elizabeth Healthcare's Heart and Vascular Institute. The Fifth Third Foundation and the Jacob G. Schmidlap Trusts are each giving $500,000. The facility just opened last week at St. Elizabeth Hospital in Edgewood. The 39,000 square foot building is in addition to the hospital's main building, which has undergone renovations to accommodate the expanded cardiology and vascular services. The CEO of Greater Cincinnati's largest insurance agency has decided he wanted to branch out. The result, a partnership making a big impact on tri-state employees. Risk Source Clark Theaters has been in the property casualty insurance sales business for more than 60 years, but CEO Jonathan Theaters wanted to make a bigger impact. He began his search for a partner that could innovate the health insurance world and landed on Northern Kentucky-based health insurance brokerage and employee benefits agency Business Benefits.
Coming together allows us to increase our employment count by over 33%, our revenue by close to 40%, and we believe that the future opportunity together is exponential. We anticipate another $1 million worth of revenue on our side alone in the next 18 months, replicating that same amount on their end over that duration of time.
The joint venture means Clark Theaters can sell its products to Business Benefits clients and offer its own clients the health and employee benefits lines that Business Benefits offers. The Cincinnati Art Museum's newest director's roots are in the art world date back to his youth in Charlottesville. Cameron Kitchen knew he wanted to be a part of the art world after visiting a Picasso retrospective as a boy at the University of Virginia Art Museum. He studied art in college and quickly realized art opens doors.
Public service is at the ground floor of all of those notions because it brings together the idea that art is made for everyone, that art is something that belongs to the entire community. And we here at the Cincinnati Art Museum, when we open our doors every day, we believe that notion, and we open the door with the spirit that we want to give that gift to our entire community.
Kitchen was named the 9th director in the Cincinnati Art Museum's 132-year history in July of last year. He calls the museum a major player in the art world with its deep roots in its community unlike any other. The Bengals have extended coach Marvin Lewis's contract by a year. It now runs through the 2016 season. Bengals president Mike Brown says the extension is a reflection of his confidence in Lewis. Lewis, in his 13th season, is already the team's longest tenured head coach, second longest in the league behind the New England Patriots' Bill Belichick. Highlighting Northern Kentucky's options for the urban lifestyle. That's the goal of a series of one-day self-guided tours throughout the region. The Catalytic Funds Beyond the Curb kicked off this week in Covington. 12 mixed-use and residential properties in the Licking Riverside, Pike Street corridor, and Main Strasse Village neighborhoods opened up to the public for a day. One of the stops on the tour was Platform 53, a community co-working space which was drawn to Covington's rich urban core.
When I think of Covington and everything that's going on here, they're all about innovation and welcoming new people and really just trying new things, and this is really a new way for people to work. And when I was telling people about the idea, everyone here was really excited and supportive about it, and so it just seemed like a great place to be.
Covington has seen more than $20 million in new development in the past 3 years. A second Beyond the Curb event is planned for Newport in September, and more tours are in the works for Ludlow, Bellevue, and Dayton. Cincinnati Business Accelerator has graduated its first class of entrepreneurs. Mortar was created by 3 entrepreneurs to bring longtime OTR residents business mentoring and coaching. Its first class includes a vegan Jamaican soul food restaurant, urban clothing store, handmade clothing line, and Philly cheesesteak restaurant, among others. Following its first-year success, Mortar plans on expanding. It's looking to replicate its program in other parts of the city. The accelerator is currently accepting applications for its second class, which will begin in July. Well, we're still about a month away from the grand opening, but the new riverfront carousel is starting to take shape. The 42 hand-carved figures for Carol Ann's Carousel are being installed at Smale Riverfront Park. A crew from Carousel Works in Mansfield was busy this past week putting together the gears, the wheels, and the beams that will keep things moving. Each carousel figure has details that represent Cincinnati people, places, and things. Input from the community helped determine which figures would be included.
You're almost going to have to come down at least 44 times just to look at each one of the figurines because it's so detailed and it's so much thought has gone into this. It is just Cincinnati at its finest.
The figures should be up by the end of this coming week. The carousel opens May 16th. You can ride for free that day, and after the first day, tokens for the rides will cost $2. A high school senior can claim credit for designing a product that's going to market. Jasmine Wade attends DePaul Cristo Rey High School. As part of a work-study program, she spends Thursdays working in the marketing and design department at the Totes Isotoner Corporation in Westchester. Jasmine was asked to design an umbrella that would appeal to teenagers, and that umbrella has been produced and will be available in the Totes 2016 spring line. Because of this experience, Jasmine's decided to pursue graphic design in college. Good for her. Up next on U.S. Bank Business Watch, another big name joins the fight to legalize marijuana in Ohio. His local ties and reason for backing the movement. Plus, new attraction, the entertainment center planned to tee off here in the tri-state. And the city of Cincinnati is hoping Uncle Sam can help get a proposed bike trail on the fast track, the plans and the potential obstacle. Some news now that's getting a lot of attention on the Business Courier website and social media. A sports entertainment complex that combines athletics and entertainment is planning to open its first Ohio location here in the tri-state. Top Golf submitted plans to build a 3-level complex during the second phase of the Streets of Westchester. Each Top Golf has dozens of climate-controlled hitting bays, a full food and beverage menu, music, games, and hundreds of HD TVs. This video is from a location in Dallas. Players hit golf balls containing computer microchips that track each shot's accuracy and distance while awarding points for hitting targets. One of Cincinnati's leading audio-visual companies said goodbye to one of its own. CEO of Prestige AV and Creative Services Terry Ramstetter died suddenly at the age of 59. Ramstetter headed the company since 1995. The firm's customers include local hotels as well as the Duke Energy Convention Center. He leaves behind his wife and 4 children. A broad network of bike trails could soon link Cincinnati neighborhoods together. The plans would allow people to bike the Wasson Way rail line owned by Norfolk Southern. It runs from Xavier University to Mount Lookout. The city has yet to reach a final agreement with Norfolk Southern to buy the rights to the Wasson Way line. City Council would then have to approve its purchase. Cincinnati is in the process of finalizing a Tiger Grant proposal which would fund the trail network. Another big name joins the movement to legalize marijuana in Ohio for medical and recreational use. Nick Lachey says the Responsible Ohio campaign has the potential to create jobs and reinvigorate the local economy. The singer and television personality will be an investor in a Summit County site. It would be one of 10 locations where marijuana could be legally grown for wholesale distribution if voters approve Responsible Ohio's proposed constitutional amendment in November. One of the original tenants at the bank's downtown is closing its doors. The Johnny Rockets location across from Great American Ballpark is now vacant. The restaurant recently rebranded as Crossley's Cafe. The closure comes after those of WG Kitchen and Mahogany's in the same block at the banks. 2 other bank's tenants, Holy Grail and Tin Roof, are going to open second concepts in those spaces. In this morning's U.S. Bank Economic 360, a customer spotlight. Jeff Likens is president and CEO of Likens Energy Solutions. The company was founded in 1948 by Jeff's grandfather and is still family-owned and operated. Likens is headquartered in Milford, employs nearly 300 people, and supplies more than 160 independent dealers. Jeff Likens joins Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio this morning. Jeff and Jamie.
Thanks, Peg. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
First off, congratulations on the growth and success you guys have had.
Thank you very much.
That's amazing. Now tell me, 67 years of a family business, still going strong and successful. Tell me a little bit about it and why you're able to be so successful.
Well, I think the main reason is the old golden rule. You just treat people how you want to be treated. My grandfather started the company when 2 people went to the wrong house, and since then we've always treated our customers right, treated our employees right, and given back to the community, because that's where we get our livelihood from.
Well, that's great. Now, for a long time you guys were known as Likens Oil. Now yes. Likens Energy Solution. Why the change?
The main reason for the change is Likens Energy Solutions really represents more what we do today. For years we were just a petroleum marketing company, but today we sell and supply electricity, natural gas, propane, DEF fluids, and several other things. So we're really becoming the supplier of the BTU, no matter what the BTU is.
Okay, that's awesome. Now you mentioned a little bit about giving back to the community. I know you do that in various philanthropic ways, but now you work a lot with schools. Why do you do that? What's the important part of that?
Well, again, my grandfather and my father's golden rule always was, you've got to support the community you derive your livelihood from. So we do a lot of work with schools and youth and scholarships. We're a large supporter of Clermont County CASA to help children in need, and we just feel like that's what you have to do to be a responsible citizen in the community.
That's good. I wish more companies felt that way. I know Cincinnati is a very strong philanthropic.
Yes, it is.
The whole region is, but you can always use more of that, that's for sure. Tell me, with that many employees, are you guys having a hard time getting a good workforce? I mean, do you have the right people coming in the cycle?
We do. In parts of our company we have a tough time getting the right kind of people, not the right kind of people, I should say, but the labor. Right. Truck drivers, for example. Truck drivers are a skilled labor in today's industry, and that's a hard job to fill. But we're very fortunate that we have a lot of good people that have been with us a long time, and I'm a strong believer that I try to hire people smarter than me.
That's probably a good practice.
Yes, it is.
I know for me it is. Well, let's talk a little bit. I know you're 3rd generation. Your grandfather started the company, and we talked a little bit beforehand. There's a 4th generation working with you as well now?
Yes, I'm 3rd generation. My cousin Ron, who's one of my partners, is 3rd generation. My 2 children, Andrea and DJ, are both in the company now. DJ, my son, works in our maintenance department. He's in his early 20s, and my daughter works in our electricity department.
And I'm sure that adds a whole aspect to the business that a lot of companies don't have to deal with.
It does. You know, I always tell the story about when I was growing up. If I did something wrong at work, I didn't only get yelled at work, but I got grounded. But with my kids in there, it's special because I get to see them every day. I think it also adds value to our company because all of our employees and our team members know that myself and my partner Ron started at the bottom and worked our way up, and my kids are starting at entry-level jobs. Nobody came out of college and got a corner
You're not a CEO or COO as soon as you start, huh?
No, absolutely not.
Well, that's good. Now, looking into the future, I know you're very regulated in what you guys do. Is there a lot of changes you see coming up or anything on the horizon we need to know about?
There are changes all the time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We don't know. You never know 1 minute what Washington is going to do, so we just try to follow along. There's not anything really on the horizon right now. Obviously, there are some great overriding factors like the Keystone Pipeline, the number of grades of gasoline we have to deal with in our industry, those kind of things, a possible carbon tax that could change the industry. But you just have to watch everything and adapt. And the companies that are successful, not only in our industry, but any industry, watch what's happening and adapt.
Yeah, well, good. Well, listen, we thank you for being on the show. We thank you for all you do to give back to the community. And U.S. Bank thanks you for being such a strong company.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for being in the studio. Peg, back to you.
All right, thanks, Jamie and Jeff. And still to come on U.S. Bank Business Watch, innovation intersects with philanthropy in an organization that's setting up shop in Cincinnati. And congratulations to Shannon Boyer, the owner of Scooter Media, another 40 under 40 honoree. In this morning's Business Insight, a new philanthropic fund aims to make Cincinnati a destination for social entrepreneurship. Boston-based Greenlight Fund is partnering with local charitable and business organizations to launch Greenlight Cincinnati. Greenlight Cincinnati will help low-income families in the urban core by identifying critical needs and bringing in successful, innovative nonprofits to address them. Greenlight's local backers include the Cincinnati Regional Business Committee, or CRBC. Greenlight National Director and co-founder Margaret Hall and CRBC Board President Scott Robertson joined Business Watch producer Kelly Leon with more on this initiative.
Thank you. And Margaret, Scott, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. So Greenlight Fund, Margaret, tell us more about it.
Great, yeah, love to, and thank you so much for having us here.
Sure.
We are really thrilled to be launching Greenlight Cincinnati and have this opportunity. So the Greenlight Fund is a nonprofit organization, nonprofit funding organization that really works at the intersection of urgent needs of low-income urban children and families and opportunities to make a real difference. And so what we're about is trying to transform lives in urban areas and communities like Cincinnati by running an annual process where a group of community leaders come together and decide urgent needs that really need innovative approaches to make a difference. And then we as a staff, and there's a local Cincinnati executive director that will look around the country using our method, the Greenlight method, of identifying very innovative approaches that are results oriented, have strong evidence that they are working and getting results, and then working closely with the community to ensure that anything Greenlight would actually bring in, because we're essentially an importer, would create the right partnerships, build on existing assets of other nonprofit organizations and efforts going on in the city, and then bring that organization in, support it over a 4 to 6 year period with funding. It's a bit of a venture capital model, venture capital-like model, funding, we take a seat on the board, support the local leadership to get going in a very strong way.
So what was it about Cincinnati that attracted you? I'm guessing part of it is the business community in Cincinnati that attracted you here.
That's a big part of it. The business community in Cincinnati is pretty incredible for a variety of reasons that we saw that made it unique and sort of powerful as a place for us. One, Cincinnati has a long-standing tradition of great civic leadership from the business community, and then the newer players on the scene like the Cincinnati Regional Business Committee and folks like Scott, and even the more innovative or the efforts to create more of an innovation economy here like Centrifuge and CincyTech really are embracing this civic action and activity by the business community. We work very closely with the business community to help to bring them into the kind of problem solving and solutions that we're working to support, and so that with a very strong nonprofit community here as well. I mean, Cincinnati is kind of unique around the country in having organized around these big efforts to pull collaborators together to meet bold goals. Like that's really the United Way's words, bold goals. It's a very forward-thinking United Way.
So Scott, what was it that attracted your organization to Greenlight?
The Cincinnati Regional Business Committee is largely made up of mid-cap CEOs, and it's a pay-to-participate organization. So these are people who put their time, talent, and treasure into whatever we're going to do. And when we first heard about Greenlight, it was so fascinating. This innovative approach, results driven and oriented, and that, as you would expect, appeals to business people. And to that end, all our work, all the things we do in the community percolate up through committees. All members vote on every dollar we spend, on every initiative we undertake. And it was a unanimous vote for Greenlight to fund them at the over a 5-year period for $250,000.
So you've raised the funding. What happens now? How do you identify the projects?
Yeah. Well, very immediately we are kicking off a search for an executive director because that person, that local leadership will be absolutely key. We've been in the community for probably, well, John Simon, who's working closely with CRBC and Centrifuge and other players, who's my co-founder and board chair and a venture capitalist himself, has been coming for probably a year and a half, 2 years. I've probably been here for the last 9 months to a year. So we've been meeting great folks who'll be part of the selection advisory council that will work with the local executive director to identify urgent needs and pick the right organization. So we're hoping that we will kick off that process to select in June or July this summer and be selecting our first organization to support early 2016.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, we know you came in from out of town. We so appreciate you being here. We'll stay in touch with you.
Absolutely.
Follow this project, have you back on. Thank you. We're thrilled you're in Cincinnati.
Thank you.
Back to you.
All right, thanks Kelly, Margaret, and Scott, and thank you for joining us this morning. We'll see you next Sunday.